These are the notes I made in the taxi on the way back to Oaxaca City after my magic mushrooms sacred ceremony in the hills. Even the yellow taxi couldn't get all the way up the track where the mushroom ceremony was to take place. Through a metal gate secured with a padlock, access to the ceremony space at the back of the house was through a large, solid metal door. G, our guide for the journey, welcomed us warmly and led us up the garden path to a terrace with bamboo roof with 5 mattresses, pillows and blankets already prepared. There was an altar with feathers and crystals, and we were invited to add anything to the altar. G asked us to introduce ourselves briefly, indicating if we'd had previous experience of mushrooms, whether we were comfortable with touch, and what our intention for the ceremony was. I had had only a couple of previous recreational small doses at Nine Ladies Stone Circle at Stanton-in-the-Peak near Bakewell, but my intent was to experience a full dose, with some nervousness, as a spiritual trip with the expectation of dissolving the sense of a separate me. After inviting the spirits to bless us with only positive experiences, G gave us jam jars half full of lemon juice with what looked like pale button mushrooms floating about in it. I had to use my fingers to scoop them out of the juice, but it all went down smoothly enough. It usually takes 10 to 20 minutes to take effect, so make yourselves comfortable, she said. There was suitable music in the background, and faithful companion Coco, G's highly sensitive dog, helped to hold the space. Because I felt safe and well guided, I felt open to epiphanies. After an hour or so, I looked at the bamboo ceiling, and it seemed to sway as though floating on waves. Apart from feeling what I can only describe as semi-drunk and woozy, I had no hallucinatory or psychedelic visions. It was certainly all benign. G kept the space very sensitively and circled around the 5 mattresses, beating a drum, shaking rattles, and towards the end playing a didgeridoo into my solar plexus, or was it my heart space? Totally pleasant and a genuine feeling of being cared for. I can't say that my intention of losing the sense of a separate self, a separate little me, was realised as such, but there was a very clear and obvious dawning that the seeing was not my separate seeing. The knowing was not my separate knowing, but rather the seeing and knowing was that of one benign consciousness, which I might refer to as the ground of being. The trick of the ego is to lay claim to the knowing as its own, like a cuckoo in the nest. After a couple of hours, I guess, which seemed timeless, an angel appeared and played a harp in the garden next to the fire. No, really, a young, attractive, blonde woman dressed in white bolero top and white cotton prayer pants played a harp and sang with her 3 dogs accompanying, without the dogs singing, you understand. I experienced 2 waves of wooziness. It was more a feeling of being drunk than having a psychedelic experience for me. After about 4 hours, the fire in the middle was lit, and G circled it, beating her drum and droning and intoning. In the day that followed, I had clear recollections of the experience and clarity that it was not me seeing and knowing, rather universal seeing and knowing. Seeing and knowing through me. This is what I wrote down in the taxi. Surprise, surprise. The me that looks out through these eyes is not me at all. Ha! No seer and seen, only seeing. No knower and known, only knowing. I am that, dare I say. As soon as the me thinking about it kicks in, it disappears. Stay with knowing, leave the thinking alone.